So the messy middle buyer and seller is something that's kind of become a specialty at Julian Company. So let's talk about that. First, to do that, we're going to go back in time just a little bit. So when we looked at the market in 2014, 2015, 2016, if you were in, New Albany in the Links, or clear over to Westerville to Highland Lakes or Medallion, or clear over to Dublin to Ballantrae and Tartan and Muirfield, and you were listed as a seller somewhere between 500,000 and 800,000, you were in what we called the messy middle, meaning whether you were downsizing into a patio home or a condo, or you were upsizing or right sizing, we still had to wait on this first-time home buyer to want to buy, and we had to wait on these sellers to want to sell. That messy middle seller and buyer transcends any market because we have a saturation at that price point, and we have a lack of inventory at a lower price point, and we have a lack of inventory at a higher price point. So the messy middle seller and buyer has to be that perfection. They have to be the seller that presents pristinely. They have to be the seller when there's 10 other choices, they're the ones that get chosen because they're sandwiched in between two different times of buyers and sellers. The highest and best is we've listed you, you're prepared to make a double move or to back in and ask for more possession from your buyer. But I can say to a seller, this home is contingent on 123 Main Street, which is in contract and scheduled to close in the next 30 days. That's the highest negotiating. You're in contract, you're moving through escrow, and this seller and buyer that we're talking to knows that we're serious and we have a buyer locked and loaded and we're in escrow. The most often thing that happens is people don't realize what it takes to make sure that their home is ready to list. So they say, my home is ready. But what they don't realize is photographers can be 2 weeks out. Painters can be a week out. My stager can be 10 days out. The best thing that you can do for yourself is let your professional, let my team and I walk through your home today, even if it's October and we don't want to list till March, because I can let you know how to be prepared so that when we present, that we are prepared and ready and positioned to make the best first impression that we can. If there's one thing you remember today that I told you about being on the market, remember this. Your net bottom line will always be in direct correlation to your days on market. Let me dive a little deeper into that. Have you ever seen a listing that's listed and it has photos 3 days later? Then it may have an aerial. Then the residential property disclosure is online. You have lost 5 days, 7 days, a week on market because you didn't present immediately and properly and blast that out. You get one chance. You get one chance. Where is the messy middle seller and buyer sandwiched between? They're sandwiched between a first-time home buyer that's moving into their product. They're sandwiched between a high-end buyer that's downsizing or a patio home person that's going to, a final destination, assisted living. Or they're looking at a new build product, and now we have a 9-month timing to deal with. We start to build here. When do we list here? What does it look like for this buyer who needs to buy in the next 30 days to 90 days? They're sandwiched in between a new buyer and this high-end buyer downsizing or building another product. You have to be positioned perfectly because you have the most competing inventory in any market, no matter what. Whether it's a buyer's market, a seller's market, or a balanced market, that messy middle buyer and seller is sandwiched between it all.